Welcome, everybody, to episode number 6 of the Boom Bap Bros podcast. We'd like to reintroduce ourselves. My name is Pat G at PatG563. I've got my brother, Alec at Alec Galandi here, and Roger at RajDog_16. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good here. It's been an eventful couple weeks here, getting ready for all the new music coming out.
Yeah, man, it's been pretty wild, just between a lot of other things in life. But yeah, new music is always good. I'm always looking forward to it, and let's get down to it.
Yeah, the pandemic is definitely not over, but we are definitely getting music as if people are going to be able to go on tour again and get those shows going that they previously wouldn't be able to. So I feel like that's why we're seeing so many more releases coming out this summer, and just a lot of artists stacking up against each other. But let's go ahead and recap the last couple of weeks of releases, some notable stuff that we wanted to talk about specifically. So our last podcast was a deep dive on Vince Staples' self-titled album that just dropped, and so we're going to pick it up with July 16th and go all the way up to this upcoming Friday, July 30th, and the notable releases. So on the 16th, we wanted to talk about WILLOW, who actually dropped Lately I Feel Everything. And WILLOW is Will Smith's daughter, obviously, if you didn't know, Willow Smith. And this album's really heavily inspired by a ton of different music genres, and I'm not sure if you guys had this on your radar at all, but Travis Barker is on here. There's some other contributions from Avril Lavigne and a group that I like, Cherry Glazer, but lots of rock and psychedelic type music. But let's take a look at this track list. I was just wondering if you guys had this on your radar or would be willing to check this out, because I definitely think this Willow Smith album deserves some attention. Her music's never disappointed me. It's just been, something to watch and keep track of, see her growth. But what are you guys' thoughts on this Willow Smith album?
Ooh, I'm intrigued to see the song on there with Tierra Whack. I know she's a pretty good rapper. The song that she had with a few different features on there that was popular last year, I believe, was a pretty good one. But I haven't heard much of her stuff. But I know she went hard on that song at least.
Yeah, this is the official cover, and then here are the singles covers. So definitely a vibe.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't listened to Willow Smith since I whipped my hair back and forth. I like the genre of music that she's diving into. I think that it's creative, and it's a good outlet for people who enjoy that kind of music and those kind of feelings and things. It's like, a nice little punk rock vibe, psychedelic rock, things like that. So, I'd give it a listen. I don't know if I was anticipating it, but, it's cool to see that she's out there putting out her own little bit of art. So it's cool. Appreciate that.
For sure. Here's another artist that I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard his music, but I know, at least Roger, you know who he is. So this is actually KSI, the YouTuber, more notably. His sophomore album, All Over the Place, came out on the 16th as well. But check this track list out. He has some reputable features on here. So number 2, the title of track 2, is featuring 21 Savage and Future. Patience, number 3, has Polo G and Youngblood, and then he's got lots of different artists that I'm not as familiar with on here, except Lil Durk, obviously. So he's got, mainstream hip-hop features, even though he is UK-based hip-hop producer and creator, while also being a YouTuber and personality that way. But I almost want to clown him for this cover art, but I think it's cool at the same time a little bit, because it's just pretty real, talking about his actual day-to-day is just in front of a computer making videos and stuff. But you can see the different there's the track list, obviously, but then here's the singles art, if this tells you anything about what this album might entail. But have you guys even thought about listening to KSI's music, or what's your opinion on this guy?
Yeah, I've never checked out. I've maybe like heard in passing some of his music before, but I've never really checked it out myself. I've just known him from being like some famous YouTuber guy, and then he was like getting into that boxing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I think that I'll give it a listen. Like, there's some good features on there. Like, I'm a big Polo G guy. He's pretty dope. 21 Savage, Future. I don't even know who Bugsy Malone is. What the heck? But yeah, I mean, I'll give it a listen. I don't know how soon I'll give it a listen, but I'm a KSI fan in general, so I like a lot of the stuff that he's done in his YouTube career. So maybe he'll pull something out and do something good here, kind of like the RDC guys are doing. They're doing a little bit of music too, so.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I think KSI approached music in a bit of a different way than some other YouTubers, but he's also sort of like towing the line a little bit between it being, actual art and just a commercial product a bit for his audience that he's already established to, consume. So we'll see. I think if you're repping for him a little bit, that makes me more confident to go check him out. So yeah, that was just one of the other ones that I wanted to mention to you guys, and just get on your radar and see if you had any thoughts from the 16th. But the last one that we actually have a little bit more to talk about is Pop Smoke's Faith album. And we were originally thinking about doing a whole podcast dedicating to break down this album, but chose to just slip it into this episode because we have a lot more to talk about in general. And I honestly don't have that many thoughts about this album, Faith. I gave it a couple of listen throughs, but honestly, I was forcing myself that second time around. Like, after I listened to it for the first time, I was like, okay, I pretty much know the tracks that I want to grab for my playlist. Other than that, as a listen through, this wasn't a great album. The features are pretty star-studded, but as just front to back listen through, it's really long and compact with a lot of different vibes that don't really seem to match together exactly. So people were criticizing this, rightfully so, as the album dropped and people were first listening to it, saying that it was more of the label's album than it is Pop Smoke's, because Pop isn't around obviously anymore to enjoy any of the success that his career has brought on since his passing. So
Yeah, I enjoyed the album. I mean, I really only gave it one listen through. I agree with Pat. Like, it was kind of just like, it was kind of forceful. Even that first listen through, I was just like, all right. I mean, like, okay, cool. Like, I like that, it was a little bit of a tribute album. And, like, the production I thought was pretty good for most of the tracks, except for, like, some of the tracks, like the one with Dua Lipa. That one wasn't very good. But I don't know. My favorite track was probably just the one with Kanye featured as, a producer on it. And then the Pusha T feature, because I thought what he was saying was pretty insightful. But like, yeah, it's just something you throw on when you're in the car. Like I probably won't listen to it again unless it just like comes on, or I'm thinking, well, I've already listened to all this stuff a million times. Let me try something different. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I think
It was just
I think it's best
so-so
for
for
just
me.
pulling a couple of songs and putting in the playlist. Just grabbing those vibes that you enjoy and not really revisiting it as a front to back listen through. But yeah, I'm likely to agree with you there.
Yeah, that's about how I listened to it too. I had a decent amount of thoughts on it though, but overall, I'd say, yeah, I was just going through for what to add to my playlist and like just see what was worth it, what wasn't. But I had a lot of thoughts on the different like features and stuff that came through on the album. Like, I thought it was weird that Kanye got a whole feature credit just for doing the intro on there. Like, I was totally expecting a verse, and it just didn't come through. And I was like, wow, I really just got teased.
He does have a production credit on that track.
Yeah.
Tell the Vision.
hmm Yeah, and surprisingly, Pusha T's verse in that song and the one song he shows up later, and I thought, like, if it would have been any other rapper, it would have been passing, would have been all right, but it just felt like pretty mediocre by his standards. Like, I thought they were just kind of unimpressive verses, and I have like a really high bar for Pusha T, so I was kind of disappointed there. But then when Rick Ross came in, I thought Rick Ross and The Dream were great on the song that they came in on. I thought that was one of my favorites on there. But my favorite like little stretch of the album was the What's Crackin' through Mr. Jones, that little 3-song stretch. I thought the features on all those songs were pretty solid. And Chris Brown on there, he was just super horny. I thought that was a weird song. And the Dua Lipa one, like, she was in a completely different song than Pop Smoke.
There's no way that Pop Smoke knew that collaboration was going to happen.
Yeah, that was just weird. It felt wrong. And then I was surprised the song Pharrell was on. He was, like, surprisingly boring on there. Like, when I see a Pharrell feature, I was expecting, like, some spice on there, but it just kind of felt like a boring pop song. I was unimpressed there. But another one of my favorites was 8 Ball with Kid Cudi. That one was super catchy, and that was definitely one of the ones that I was coming with, like, stuck in my head when I was done listening through the album. But yeah, overall, I thought, like, the features were kind of hit or miss. There were some that shined pretty well, others that weren't that good, and I thought Pop Smoke was pretty consistent throughout, like, what they pulled from his catalog and put through here. Like, I don't think any of these, like, were as like good at bangers of what he had on Shoot for the Moon, Aim for the Stars, that one. I think that one had like some pretty great bangers, and this one had some good songs, but it didn't like reach quite the heights of that last one. And so I think he'll definitely end up being remembered for that album, and this one won't really carry on his legacy as much, but there's still some good songs from it.
Good takeaway. What would you guys rate this then out of our rating system? So we've got Throw It Out, Wouldn't Skip, Playlist, Recommend, or On Repeat. I would say probably Playlists or Wouldn't Skip. Not really high on my radar just because I feel like it was really manipulated by the label, and I'm not sure how much of the art was lost in there, just sort of how I was going off of that earlier. But how would you guys rate that?
Yeah, I'd rate it about the same. Like, there's definitely some playlist songs in there, but there's a few that are skips, like especially the Dua Lipa one.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say throw it out, but like there's some songs that I would 100% skip, so I can't say I wouldn't skip. So like, I gotta come up with something that goes in between or something, because it's definitely not quite playlist for me. I mean, yeah, I might go back again and add some stuff to my playlist, but
yeah, I feel that for sure.
Know, man.
I'm probably not gonna revisit it again, but if the songs come on, I'm not gonna skip them. I'm gonna let it play through if the vibe is right. But that goes for Friday, July 16th. So now we're on to July 23rd, and the notable releases there, we have a new track from Logic, Call Me, and I think this is probably my favorite from the Bobby Tarantino 3 rollout, where he's released all of the different tracks on the weeks leading up to the release. And I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this track. If you had been able to catch it, check this cover out, because there's lots of little hidden images and pieces of text. You know how Logic has such a big maybe not grand plan exactly, but a big universe that he's sort of trying to create with how his albums have interconnected in the past. So there's lots of different little Easter eggs and pieces of text to read into a little bit. But how'd you guys like the track separate from the artwork here that I'm admiring?
Yo, I'm honestly ready for that album. Dude, Bobby Tarantino is the shit. Like, honestly, like, it's really rare that Logic disappoints me in general in any of the music he makes. Like, honestly, like, 100%. Probably my least disappointing artist. Like even though J. Cole is my boy, like, even Logic is just like, he don't miss for me a lot of the time. But like, the production on this track was actually pretty top notch. I don't know who comes up with the artwork for a lot of his stuff, but like, I really appreciate whoever does the art.
Shout out Juan. We'll shout him out in the description of this episode. I follow him on Instagram, but you should too, because he breaks down how he comes up with these concepts, and he's super cool. But Bobby Boy Records employee there working on this stuff. But I thought the message was really good in this song too. Like we previously said, uplifting Logic is probably like top tier. Like his story in general just fits really well to have someone say, you know, I made it, you can make it too. Go live your dreams and be inspirational. And that's what he's doing here. He's saying, I know it can get crazy and out of control. I know the world reminds us we should take it slow. Weight of the world made it impossible to stay afloat, and the demons we battle with make it harder to cope. So he's relating and showing people that he's still there, you know, with them struggling through it day to day. Like even saying, why do you think we get addicted to alcohol and dope? Addiction's like a mud bath without a bar of soap. In other words, it's impossible to stay clean for people like us. Being happy is just a daydream. But beyond drugs, it's even day-to-day shit. Constantly comparing yourself to others and they shit. So he's getting pretty deep here in just this quick verse, and then I feel like the chorus is catchy enough on here. This is my favorite one leading up to the next Bobby Tarantino project that's coming up. But yeah, I'm definitely telling you, Al, you got to check this song out.
Mm-hmm.
I know that the project will be out probably by the time that you get around to it, and then we'll, you know, be talking about it here on the podcast. But
yeah, and like I kind of like consuming it that way better. Just have once everything's all together. I kind of like doing that better than always checking out the singles.
I feel that. I feel like the singles can either welcome you into the world in a little bit of an unorthodox way that the album might not. But, you know, they can always take away from that experience if you're trying to approach it from the strict boundaries of the first track to the last track, you know. So I understand where you're coming from there. But the other release we have on July 23rd was What You Said off of Isaiah Rashad's album. So that's also going to be coming up here. And this was just the third single from his upcoming album, The House Is Burning. And I haven't even gotten, I'm literally in the same boat as you, Al, with this track. I haven't even gotten around to checking it out yet, but I wanted to mention it because I know that he dropped it last week, and it's got features from Doechii and Cal Banks. So I'm excited to listen to that once the album drops specifically. Last week was sort of a lull week, the 23rd, because here on July 30th, we're actually getting the full release of Bobby Tarantino 3. So that was just announced. So check out the cover. I know we're big enough Logic fans to be familiar with the previous covers. So in the last one, he was obviously in the car driving down the highway, and that car has crashed, man. This third Bobby Tarantino has him totally wrecked, and like here, let's see how detailed we can get in here. Like, it's crazy, the artwork. Shout out to Sam Spratt, who actually does Logic's full-on covers, and he's done even comic book covers. Like, I've really liked watching this guy's art expand and stuff, but look at the detail in this, man.
Yeah, that's really cool. And with the whole, like...
Oh, and you see...
Oh, yeah, it's got the books there.
Books and different Easter eggs for inquiring fans there. But, yeah, I'm excited. This is coming out on July 30th, and so we'll be talking about this as well as Isaiah Rashad's The House Is Burning in our upcoming podcast, because we're eating this week, boys. We're getting some good releases.
Yeah, I think it's really cool how he did that with the album art, like with him coming back as a zombie, as like a whole thing of like him unretiring, you know?
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I think it's cool that he's doing that.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I think the arts for all the Bobby Tarantino ones were lit, but especially 2. 2 was pretty dope. I like 2. That was a good one.
Yeah, definitely. This art is crazy, and I didn't even think about that theme of him pretty much coming back from the dead with his career. You know, he retired, now he's coming back with it, with this project, Bobby Tarantino 3. So we'll see how many tracks this has on it. If I'm remembering right, the last 2 Bobby Tarantinos didn't have that many tracks, did they?
I think they're like somewhere around like the 12 range, if I were to guess,
right,
like off top.
Well, I think the first one might have even been like 10 tracks.
Yeah.
So we'll see, because he's released how many singles for this already? Like 3 or 4.
Yeah,
Let's go ahead and just check it out. on his page here. Let's just go ahead and look. So Call Me was the one that was released most recently, and then he had My Way, Get Up, and Vaccine. So yeah, so that's 4, right? So I'm thinking and sort of hoping that because we got so many singles before the album was, or not album, but the project or mixtape, whatever you want to call it, was announced. I'm hoping that we get like 16 tracks or something. That would be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. I'm excited.
Yeah, we definitely could, because he's always got a ton in his vault. He keeps a bunch stored up.
Well, and through retirement, he couldn't even stop posting to YouTube new music. So I'm sure he was just, stashing them up while he's working on them. So we'll see. I'm excited for Friday. We're going to get to listen to this tape. Speaking of The House is Burning, Isaiah Rashad's upcoming album, he showed us the track list and the feature list and producer list. So check this out, because I think it's super dope that he named the very first track off of the pretty much ultimate DC villain, sort of their equivalent to Thanos, is Darkseid. So just being a big DC Comics fan, that made me happy. That was the name of the first track, and I know Isaiah Rashad is a comics guy as well, so he's into that stuff. But like right after that, we get From the Garden featuring Lil Uzi Vert, Rip Young, Lay Witcha, which we already heard, Claymore featuring Smino, so a Smino and Isaiah Rashad collab, which should be dope. Headshots we already heard as well. All Herb featuring Mindy, Hey Mista, True Story featuring J Rock and Jay Worthy, What You Said, which was the latest single that's dropped, the third one, featuring Doechii and Cal Banks, Don't Shoot, Chad featuring Young Tut. I'm just totally guessing that's how you pronounce that. 9 to 3 Freestyle, Score featuring SZA and Black. I'm hyped for that track because I love every artist involved there, so it should just be a dope one. And then Thib, and then HBT2U. So that's going to be a dope album to listen to as well, and it'll end the drought of Top Dog not releasing things. So let's hopefully, pray with us here that the drought doesn't dry back up and return after this album comes out, because I'm still fiending for new Kendrick in general, but I think that Isaiah Rashad's second album here is looking promising. The House is Burning. And then he released all these different images. So this is one with all the track lists, pretty much all the track names. Let's check out what he's been putting out here. And then this is the producer one as well. And it's all in this crayon that the cover is in as well. So I think that the art direction in general is pretty cool. Like you can see there's the actual cover with the crayon art as well. So yeah, I'm excited for this album. We're getting 2 really cool projects on Friday, but which are you guys going to listen to first, or which are you more excited for in general about these 2 albums?
I think I'll probably give first listen to Logic, then to Isaiah Rashad. Just because I've been listening to Logic longer, and I've been had a more intimate relationship with his music. Like Isaiah Rashad, I've started listening to more recently, but I'm really impressed by him, and I'm really excited after seeing the features on here too. The ones I'm most excited for, especially Smino. I think that'll be really cool. I think those 2 guys will have really good chemistry on the song together. And other than him, really hyped to see the other TDE artists, J Rock and SZA on there. I'm really hyped to see how both they do, and hopefully they both have releases coming out soon, along with Kendrick, Schoolboy, everyone else. I need it, and Absol. I need everything.
Yeah, seriously, Top Dog's got to come back.
Yeah, honestly, I'm probably gonna listen to Logic first. Come on, honestly, I'm probably just gonna go listen to all his projects this week before, leading up to Bobby Tarantino 3, because I still remember the concert I went to, bro. The Incredible True Story tour, and the City of Stars performance was phenomenal. But yeah, man, probably that one first, and then Isaiah Rashad. I would do Isaiah Rashad first, but like I said, it just has to be Logic. Plus I like Isaiah Rashad's last project, and I'm definitely looking forward to the J Rock feature. I think J Rock's pretty good. Like there was a track I think with Isaiah Rashad, J Rock, Kendrick, and like one or two other artists from probably TDE, and they did a track together that was it was a banger, but it came out like years ago.
Wait, are you
Yeah,
talking about?
definitely?
Are you talking about UOENO?
That's
Maybe
Black Hippie.
I'd have to.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah,
that was the top dog subgroup pretty much with their rappers called Black Hippie, and that was like one of
It might
a
be
handful of songs that they released or even worked on together.
Yeah, well, they also had the Black Hippie remix of uh, it's one of the ones off Kendrick's like first commercial album, not Section 80.
See, it's the.
Oh yeah, it's the.
It's
I
the
think it's the "Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe" remix. I think there's a "Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe" remix that has a ton of them on there.
I could see that.
Okay, yeah, it was probably so. It was. I think what I was talking about. I think I was referring to two different tracks. I was kind of blending them together, but one's "King's Dead" with Kendrick Lamar, J Rock, Future, James Blake, and then there's the "Shot You Down," which is with J Rock, Isaiah Rashad, and Schoolboy. Those are both
Shot You
that was
Down's
kind of
a good
mixing together.
Gotcha.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, that's the ones I was talking about. Yeah, I was blending them together for whatever reason, thinking that they all were collaborating on the same track and it was one song. But
Oh, and the That Part remix has all of them on it too.
Yeah. So those are the Black Hippie songs. So man, we need more TDE. We are just desperate over here. But I think I'm akin to agree with you guys. I'll probably check out Bobby Tarantino 3 first. We've heard more tracks from it too, so we'll see if we're getting more or not. But the last thing that I wanted to tell you guys about was a surprise announcement that I just am reading before the show started here. But check this out. Anderson .Paak tweeted, "You've been invited to Silk Sonic's Summertime Jam this Friday." So I'm hoping that this is actually a new song, either called Summertime Jam or maybe like it's a performance or something. But we just need new Silk Sonic music. Like, Leave the Door Open's been a instant classic, it feels like. But that's all they've done is promote that, and all the different award shows and things that they have gone to has just been with that song. They've been teasing the album. Come on, man. We need Summertime Jam this Friday. It'll be in July, the last Friday in July. So let's hope that this is new music from Silk Sonic and that they're going to be putting the damn album out.
Facts. Yeah, I'm super hyped for whatever this turns out being and the album as a whole coming out. At this point, like, I loved Leave the Door Open when it first came out. I was like, oh, amazing. But at this point, like, it's gotten to the point where it's just so overplayed where I can't enjoy it quite as much anymore. I need some time from it. So I just need the rest of the album.
We need it desperately.
I could listen to that song all day, every day, honestly. But like a whole album would be phenomenal. We got to do a whole review on that. Like, 100%.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that would be one of my most anticipated albums of the year. They've just been taking a long time with it. I mean, maybe they released Leave the Door Open and that was the only thing that they had done. If so, that's not the way to market it. Or maybe it is the way to market it, and we're talking about a product that doesn't exist. But we'll get into Kanye later, right?
Oh my gosh. Sheesh.
All right. Some other stuff we got to address at the top of the show here. I wanted to say that Vince Staples had his Tiny Desk at Home concert. So if you haven't checked out a review already up on our channel of the Vince Staples album, but he's performing some songs here in this Tiny Desk Home concert, and the vibe is super cool. Just chilling out, and I mean, you can see here from the wide shot, there's Kenny Beats, who did most of the production as well on the album, and just vibing. Guy on keyboard, got the two guys on guitar and drums, and he's got the mic. So super stripped down to earth performance, and you can see the different tracks from the album on there. So check that out if you haven't already. We support Vince Staples around here. His album was dope, and I'm still spinning that. So, yeah, just wanted to mention that to you guys.
Yeah, I love those Tiny Desk concerts that they do. Even the at home ones they've been doing lately, I think they're really cool. And in this one, it was really cool seeing it because Vince, like, you could just tell he was just enjoying the performance the whole time. He just really liked getting his music out and performing it. You could just, like, he was like joyful. You could tell it on him. And it was really cool. And Fouché comes in here to do "Take Me Home." Like, they had a really cool performance together.
Well, and that was like our favorite song, the three of us, on the album. So it's super cool that that track specifically, they get the featured artist as well to come in and contribute to the performance. So yeah, this is just super cool.
Well, and I just like Tiny Desk concerts because, like you said, the vibe is like almost always immaculate. Like, I'm always down to see the musicianship, like how an artist performs with other live musicians, like playing instruments and stuff, rather than just in a production studio or on stage during their concerts normally with just it playing in the background and them kind of talking over it. And so, like, you kind of get a sense for who they are as an artist when you see them do these little concerts. Just appreciation they have for other forms of art that contributes to what they're making. So, like, it's all around just a good time. I love it.
Yeah, I feel you.
So there's been some controversy around the new Lil Nas X and Jack Harlow single that's come out, Industry Baby. So alongside Lil Nas X and how his antics are always finding a way to get into the popular sphere and get more people talking about his music, he's done just a great job with digital marketing in general. So if you're interested in music at all, you should pay attention to how he is teasing his music online and sort of getting people to talk about it as well, with the quote unquote controversies that have been surrounding it. So check out this video. I'm going to show you guys some spots from it, but Industry Baby. So the whole concept is pretty much that he's gone to prison now. And at the beginning, he's sort of poking fun at how Nike was suing over the satanic shoes that were coming out alongside his last single. So pretty much the gist of it is they're in prison and, everybody's dancing. The track is actually really good. I think Lil Nas X has always put out good music. And, it's worth the listen even if you're not going to be the biggest fan of him as an artist. I think the track in general is just catchy and good. So the gist of it is he's trying to get out, and they're watching said video where he goes to hell there. And then Jack Harlow comes in, and he's not, in here's the scene that was pretty controversial, or people were freaking out about, was all these naked guys dancing in the showers. But then Jack Harlow comes in, and he's just in a private cell with the one female guard pretty much that he's wooed over. And I feel like people were outraged about this for no reason. It's just in good fun, in my opinion, and a really good video concept. But a lot of more conservative Americans are loving to outroar over anything Lil Nas X does. And I think he just uses it as a machine to get more hits on his video. Like, this has 43 million views from not that long ago from now. So, he is widely popular, and I think he's doing an overall great thing because this also has a fundraiser going on for Bail Fund with the Bail Project. So they've raised a lot of money already, almost 50K. So I think overall that Lil Nas X is doing a good thing, but he's never going to escape the controversy because he's referencing the Nike lawsuit and just sort of poking fun at his haters on Twitter as much as he can. But did you guys like this video where he was in Montero State Prison? Have you checked out the track?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty funny video. And yeah, I think it's silly, the whole part that they're getting like pissed off about, and like he's doing it for the exact reason. Like, he's just doing it to piss people off. He knows like what'll push buttons, and I love that he just does that. He'll just push whatever boundaries that are just like silly crap that'll just piss people off. And even besides that, I thought the track banged. Like I thought it was a really cool like horn beat on there, and I thought his rapping was really good. Jack Harlow's rapping was really good. As soon as I heard it, I put it in my playlist.
Yeah, I was remiss to not mention that this track was produced by Take a Day Trip and Kanye West. So Kanye has a production credit on this track. So that's just another reason why it bangs so hard, I feel like.
Yeah, I just like the stand that he's taking against the industry, and I like that artists are doing that a lot more now because like there's just been a history of people being outed for crap like that. Like let artists create their own art and just like let it be what it's gonna be because I mean at the end of the day it falls on the artist and like obviously his label or whoever he makes music under didn't take any fall for it. It seems like he's taking all the heat anyway. And so, like, I don't know, Jack Harlow is just funny, and I'm glad he hopped on this because you know how his video service about him being sus and just, like, saying goofy stuff and just, like, honestly just being the epitome of not giving a fuck, which is why I like this video because that's just, like, what they're trying to give that vibe off to everybody. So I fucks with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just glad to see Lil Nas X doing his thing. I mean, he's always been pushing the boundaries ever since his first single, Old Town Road. It was crossing between hip hop and country and making people from both genres sort of appreciate the other one. So I'm glad that he's doing his thing, and I'm always looking forward to see how he markets his music in general because he's really smart with how he drives traffic. So yeah, good on Lil Nas X, and it's really cool that Jack Harlow has rapped on a Kanye West beat too. Like that's just something a rapper can always say that they've got a Kanye beat under their credit. So that's really cool, man.
Yeah, and it didn't really sound like a Kanye beat. Like, if I would have guessed without knowing it was him, I don't know who I would have said for it, but I wouldn't have guessed Kanye, but it was really a banger.
So it seems like Travis Scott has been approaching new music as well. So he recently teased on his Twitter account a video that has seemingly been produced specifically to either, you know, show off the album and music that's coming or tease it or even maybe be included in one of the later videos. But check this out, guys. This was put out on July 24th. So we'll see here. I could play a little bit of the music. I'll jump ahead, but I'll show you. So he jumps in the car and then puts the music on his phone and he's just vibing to it for a second. Here, I can turn this up a little bit.
12-figure state plan, that was the escape plan, but hey, investigating, that shit was a waste, man, but wait, I stopped the...
But then there's actual like video stuff going on too, as if this is a real video for the track. So we'll see if his upcoming album Utopia is actually on the way. It seems like it is, and a lot of people are hyped for this album, but I just wanted to gauge you guys on Travis Scott a little bit. Are you looking forward to Utopia after, Astroworld just blew up and was his most successful project? Or how are you guys really anticipating this album or maybe not anticipating it?
I'm definitely excited for it. I enjoy a lot of Travis's music. I don't know if Astroworld's necessarily my favorite that he's dropped. Like I know is by far his like most successful. But as far as between that and Birds in the Trap and Rodeo, like I think all those three albums have a lot of bright spots throughout them, and they all have kind of similar styles with how Travis is. Like he doesn't have too much variance between his albums, but they each have little differences in them, little different vibes. And so I appreciate all the albums that he's put out so far. So I'm definitely excited to see what he has next.
See, I would 100% agree with that because like the theme centered around most of his albums is just like always the same. Like even though at least the last couple albums, the names of the albums have like kind of been very similar, like Utopia, Astroworld. I mean, Rodeo's a little different, but like to me, it's all the same vibe. And so like the fact that he can consistently put out this kind of music with this kind of vibe is cool. Like, I'll still bang it. Like, but like, it's not like at the top of my list for any type of genre specifically, or like just music in general. But like, I appreciate what he does, and you know, he's out there, you know, making a living for himself and for his people. So I appreciate that. You know, it's art. So
Yeah, those are some good takeaways. I feel like Travis has his detractors for sure, but if you don't like the music, you really don't have to hate on it. You can just listen to something you like instead. That'll always be my advice if you're gonna, you know, pile on criticism where it may not be welcome or may not be productive. Just listen to something you like instead. But we'll see how Utopia comes out. I think that's a good point, Roger, that a lot of his albums are sort of the same type of theme and vibe a bit, but you sort of know what you're expecting, and you know, people go back for that specifically because they like the sound. So yeah, people are gonna really be excited about Utopia, and I think this snippet did some waves to, you know, get those people knowing that the music's actually a lot closer to being done than they probably thought. Like, I wasn't expecting Travis Scott to drop, but it's been a minute since Astroworld came out, so he's been doing more brand collaborations and different things like that outside of music. So now is about the time where he's going to put Utopia out. So we'll be looking out and cataloging all of the different singles and things as that unfolds. But before we get into Kanye here, the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was Rolling Loud that happened this past weekend. So the one storyline to really follow here is with DaBaby and his antics, and not quite cancellation, but some of the backlash, and I would say very rightfully so. He got backlash here, but I'll let you guys see the clips a little bit out of context before I get into it a little bit more and explain. But check out, I think DaBaby actually made a new term that we gotta hold on to and use here. But check this out.
Put a hand in the air with a cell phone and then turn the fucking light on if you special too. Who the fuck threw that motherfucking busted ass goddamn Adidas?
He called it an Adidas, singular. But somebody threw a shoe at him. I gotta rewind that. Somebody threw a shoe at him in between songs on stage. And he dodges it. There, we gotta watch this one more time.
Who the fuck threw that motherfucking busted ass goddamn Adidas?
Even though I don't condone his behavior, I think that's hilarious still.
Yeah, because he was saying some wild shit like right before that.
Yeah, so let's see the context to that here. Now, before we saw that, you know, shoe get thrown at him and some backlash from his fans, or not fans obviously, in the audience, let's go ahead and see what he had just pulled off on stage.
Right now, if you can guess who, 4 times, Stunner, who you think? Who? Rashad. Who?
I know who that is. I know who the fuck that is. Let's go.
So he brings out Tory Lanez, who was disguised on stage, and his set was just after Megan Thee Stallion's set. So 7:55 p.m. Megan was on, 8:45 on the exact same stage. So you know that they were at least close to crossing paths there. DaBaby goes on and he brings out Tory Lanez, literally the person that shot Megan Thee Stallion. And I think Tory is just a misogynist and a pretty awful person, and I'm not surprised that DaBaby's, you know, in that same camp and sort of moving with guys like that. But they were out to perform their new song Scat, which I hear is good, but I'm not going to support that, man. Like, I think DaBaby's a fool for having him come out, one, after Megan, but two, also in a disguise. Like, he deserved to have that Adidas thrown at him. I'm going to say it right now. He deserved to have that Adidas thrown at him.
That's not what he had it thrown at him for. like right before right before it was thrown at him, he was saying some crap. He was like, "Put your cell phone lighter in there if like you didn't have any diseases or something, or like if you weren't sucking dick in the parking lot." Like it
He's
was like
also
really
very judgmental towards the gay community in general. Yeah, he has had a lot of. Well, I cut it out because I didn't really want to highlight everything he said because
Yeah,
I don't think that rhetoric should be passed along.
Yeah,
but
it was bad.
and then he defended his position afterwards on Instagram. We're not going to pull up any of that because we don't really want to give DaBaby a platform like that. But I thought it was hilarious that he had the shoe thrown at him in general. But then there was just this whole iceberg of information that we have to sort of unpack around it to give you guys some context. But it seems like you're familiar with the situation, Al. But Roger, I know, I mean, this is an unfolding situation that has a lot of moving parts, but I was just interested on your take on it in general.
I mean, out of context, it seemed funny as hell. But like, given the context before and after, like this, specific snippet, yeah, I definitely don't condone the behavior that he was displaying out there. Like, it was kind of messed up. And like you said, the whole part with Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion, and knowing that he kind of set that up, probably out of spite or just to back your boy Tory. Like, come on, man. Like, plus Tory Lanez's music is mediocre at best, and like, maybe DaBaby is against gay people, but like, your boy Lil Nas X is already popping off harder than he ever was or ever will. So like, come on.
and they had a song together. DaBaby was on his remix of Panini.
Wow.
Yikes.
Good connection. That's a big yikes, I think. I feel conflicted about it because I like some of DaBaby's music. I don't think Tory Lanez's music is nearly as good as DaBaby's music, just in general. He's not as good a personality or writer in general as DaBaby. I mean, yeah, this is just a really sticky situation that I hope would never have happened, but they're sort of creating all of this drama and backlash from, being very homophobic about remarks about different diseases and things, and saying like, oh, my fans are the fans that don't get those diseases. I might still have some fans that are, in that community, but they're not getting involved with stuff like that. And like, it's just overall awful, and we condemn what they say. It just needs correcting, and they really should apologize. But if they're still giving a platform to Tory Lanez, I don't know if that's ever going to come. So we might as well just move on after we get a sour taste in our mouths from that. But I don't know if you guys were that hyped or excited for Kanye's Donda album, but he is notoriously late when it comes to his album. So check this out. This was on the day of the live stream that was on Apple Music. And so he had promised a year pretty much exactly before that Donda would be dropping. And Hip Hop by the Numbers, go ahead and follow if you haven't already on Instagram or Twitter. But doing the Lord's work, obviously, we love stats like this to talk about on the podcast here. But every single album pretty much has been late except for 808s and Heartbreak, dropped early. And then actually he's got 4 on-time albums and 8 that have been late. So he's shooting about, what is that, a 30%, 33% with being on time, maybe a little bit more than that. So this date's already been moved back. But were you guys really hyped and anticipating it as the marketing was sort of dialing up, or were you skeptical on if it would actually release on time?
Yeah, I've really learned over the years to I don't expect a Kanye album to come out until I see it on Spotify. So like I was expecting the delay. Like I was still checking at like 11 o'clock. I was like, is it actually coming out on time? But it wasn't popping up on my Spotify. So I was like, okay, this might take a while. But it's nothing new. This is what he does.
Yeah, I mean, I'm anticipating it because I like Kanye. I think Kanye makes great music. I'm a big fan of his and his production and things like that. But like his albums are just becoming increasingly more like abstract and obscure. But like I guess that's the beauty in it, because like I still enjoy it even as it seems to get a little bit more weird. But like I'm cool. Like I'm ready for it. Like Donda will probably be good, just like a majority of his other projects. So I'm looking forward to it. I didn't know much about the delay, like him always being late about albums. Like I really didn't know much about that, but that's interesting.
Yeah, he is notoriously late, but we'll see if since they've re-announced a date 2 weeks later, we'll see if they actually stick to that or if they end up delaying it again. But I've got a ton of stuff to show you guys surrounding Kanye and even the show that he put on in Atlanta. So first off, our boy Tyler, the Creator, is in the studio with Kanye. So let's go ahead and give this a listen. Just a little short snippet. Oh, it's off. That would impact it.
Straight from Shibuya on some Zen. I'm back ramped up, I'm on.
See, it's super short, but you can see Kanye in the full mask that he's been wearing recently, and working on something with Tyler. Hopefully, either Tyler's producing on it or actually being featured on it. But let's break down the marketing for Donda in general here. So people were shocked to see that Kanye was working with Nike again after the whole partnership with Adidas and the Yeezy brand being sort of scorned out of Nike. Kanye was the only person to ever check Nike, famous line.
Yeah.
And so this video here has a snippet of the album. Frequently talked about athlete recently in Olympic times because she was not able to go to Tokyo Olympics, Sha'Carri Richardson. And so you can see here, No Child Left Behind. Donda drops this Friday. Listening event live stream on Apple Music Thursday. And also promoting the Beats headphones here as well. But that snippet had so many people just going crazy because that was all that they had to really, hold on to before the listening event. And I think that was a really great part to just tease. Super slow for this ad as well. And then it just had everybody singing, "He does miracles on me," leading up to the release. But what do you guys think about this ad? Were you shocked to see that he was back with Nike?
Yeah, I was definitely surprised after the whole beef they had, but yeah, even more than the net. Like I didn't even notice the Nike thing as much. I was just like, oh, this is really a Beats commercial, like, because like as the video goes on, it like focuses and it has like the whole like Beats logo at the end thing. So I was like, oh, I'm just getting advertised at.
Yep.
See, I wouldn't say I wasn't surprised that he was back with Nike, but like I'm just never really surprised by anything that Kanye does anymore. Like it's just, like he pulls off some crazy stunts, like he says and does some crazy things. So who's to say we should be surprised by Kanye anymore? Like my man's a legend.
For real. This was his outfit from the night of the event. So all red with a full face mask on. I'm sure you can see through that thing somehow, but you cannot see his face really at all in that thing. But this was at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on July 22nd in Atlanta, Georgia. And the same day, they were working on recording and mixing the album backstage. So you can see 2 Chainz landed. And he said, as soon as we landed from Greece, we pulled up and working on the album. And then here's another photo of him in Atlanta the day of the event, working on it as well. But there was some sort of controversy around the event. This is actually a suite menu, but look at some of these prices for the snacks that they're putting on specifically for this event. But this is like if you're in a suite with a group of people, this is what you're paying. So it's not as outrageous as, one hot dog for $40 or whatever. But it's still just funny to see that this was the menu that they put on specifically for the listening party. And yeah, I just thought it was funny that was being offered at the stadium. So other than that, it went off pretty much without a hitch. It was late, obviously. Like, you can't expect Kanye to be on time with anything. So people who tuned into the event on Apple Music had to wait a while longer. But you can see there's literally nothing going on at the stadium on the actual ground floor there. There's tons of people in there, and Kanye was pretty much out there alone previewing new music and just sharing snippets of different tracks that were sort of unfinished and shorter than you would maybe expect the final product to be. And they delayed the album release afterwards. And it seems like he's still at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. He's living there, apparently. And he was first spotted at a Major League Soccer game on Saturday, and people were curious because he was wearing the exact same outfit that he wore on Thursday night at the event. And so check this out. This is literally Kanye at the MLS game, and he's still in his Donda release fit, just hanging out there, and he's apparently living there. So we heard a ton of different features on the live stream, and like, you know, the collaborators you'd expect from Kanye, Pusha T, you know, Travis Scott. Who else would you really expect? Maybe Lil Baby or someone like that, but also Playboi Carti, Lil Durk is on here, Travis Scott, Jay-Z was the really big surprise, and we'll actually pull that up here. But he talks about his divorce, talks about some, you know, myriad of things that are going on in his life, but I'm just excited to get actual substance from it. And Watch the Throne Part 2 was actually sort of teased here.
It's like the last like 15 seconds is like where Jay-Z like mentions the throne thing.
All right, bet. But yeah, you can go ahead and listen to Jay-Z's verse pretty much that he supposedly recorded day of as well of the listening.
Throne.
Yeah, so if we get a Watch the Throne 2, that would be insane. But
For sure.
what do you guys think about how he put on this event in general, and just thoughts about the music from the snippets that we just listened to?
Man, yeah, it's definitely not the way I would do it. Like,
How would you do it? How would you do it? Tell us.
well, maybe I would like finish the album before I do any sort of planning of like releasing it. Like,
That's
would,
one thought. Yeah, okay, okay.
I would try to order that a little differently, but I don't know. I don't know how Kanye does it. How like he's had like, especially since like Pablo, some like kind of sloppy releases, but then still ended up making like great albums out of it. I don't know how he does it, but if it works, it works.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the artistry in it all, you know? It's just like, it's not necessarily meant to be planned or on time. It's just like when the artist feels like the music or the art they're making is like ready to go, then that's just when it's going to happen. So like, I appreciate the delays because it's like the same within like the video game community. Like, you see that a game was delayed, but you're like, well, it's okay because you know that it's probably going to end up being better as a result because they can go back and fix things and add new things and stuff. So like, you know, I mean, yeah, it would be annoying for him to come up with dates and be like, okay, this is when we're dropping it, and then not drop it. But like, at the end of the day, like, whatever, like it's gonna come out eventually, you know.
Yeah.
It's not like
We're getting a better product.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think your point stands. We're getting a better product all in all if he's delaying it. You know, he's letting it cook a little longer and polishing it more for the listener. So I think that's the best takeaway with Donda and all the ordeal, but there's even more to share. Yeah, sorry, I only had so many links pulled up. All right, I got it now.
Cool.
So apparently from the source Justin LeBoy on Twitter, and I think everyone pretty much was okay with confirming that this was someone close enough to Kanye that this is true, but he tweeted out on the 23rd, Kanye West will move the release date of Donda to August 6th. Thank you for your patience. He wants to give the fans the best possible product without rushing anything. He loves y'all with all his heart. So yeah, I'm not sure why he had to go through Justin to get this out to the people and tell them this, but moving it back to August 6th. So we'll have, obviously, this week a couple of good projects to listen to, and then the week afterwards, we'll see if Donda is actually releasing. But Kanye put this out yesterday on his Instagram feed, which has been a pretty wild collection of stuff. I would be remiss not to show y'all. But he's got obviously some promo for the album starting, and then this was the stadium empty before anybody got there, and working on it backstage day of, and as well just getting ready for the show. And afterwards, he posts a seemingly random video at the MLS game and people were curious why he was still there. Like nobody really totally understood. I'm not sure if this video was just something Kanye found online, I'm pretty sure, but it's somebody seemingly after the listening event saying how hyped they were for the album. But yesterday he posted his room, it looks like, at the Atlanta arena there. And what do you guys think about Kanye's living quarters while he finishes up this album over the next 2 weeks? How do you get to move into a stadium like that? I mean, I guess you got to be Kanye or something.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, like this does not look at home to me.
No, like it looks like a prison kind of, like just indoor. At least he's got a TV and a closet.
A clock, a little closet.
Yeah, but hey,
It looks
if that
like
helps him
it
get in
looks
the
like a
zone,
prison
all the
cell
better.
meets a gym locker room, and then he's like, "Let me get the cheapest Roku TV I can find and mount it on the wall." Like what? Like what's going on, bro? I meant a squatter. Squat at the stadium.
Yeah, he's squatting.
He
Well, he
lost so
got
much money,
divorced, man.
probably.
He's got to
He's
move
down
out.
bad. He's
Probably
down
lost
bad
so
after
much
the
money, dude.
divorce.
Yeah. Who knows? Well, who knows? Because they're
okay.
both independently wealthy.
Well,
so
yeah, and I think they had a prenup too.
yeah, I'm sure they had some sort of agreement put together. Oh yeah, that like once you get over a certain million cap, it's like okay, we're gonna figure out who owns what beforehand.
Mhm.
But we'll see if this is a good environment for Kanye to be creating in. I feel like he always throws in interesting, ways that he's creating an album, whether it's the going to Hawaii and everybody's wearing suits for the Twisted Fantasy era, or this, that, and the third. Kanye's got a lot of storylines you could really talk about that we don't have time to today, but we'll see if Donda is being created well in the backstage of the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. So do you guys think that this is actually going to drop in 2 weeks on August 6th, or are we getting it September, October, November, December, next year? What are you? Let's hedge our bets now. Let's go on record saying when we think the album's going to drop. I am going to put my faith in Kanye for an August release. I won't say specifically August 6th, but I'll say I'll put my faith in him to finish it up by the end of August and at least ship some sort of product by then. You know how Life of Pablo, he was editing tracks afterwards and, revising different versions to streaming services after the official release. So we may see something like that, but I'm going to trust that he'll get it out in August, at least in the initial form.
Yeah, that's along the same lane I was thinking. I think, yeah, he'll get at least some version out of it on the 6th, I think. But it might not be the very final version of the album for another, few weeks afterwards. I can definitely see it going down that same type of lane.
Yeah, I want to say August, but I feel like I'm just following the train here. But I don't know. Maybe I'll just take a stab at it and say September. Maybe first or second week of September instead of that first week of August. Because if he's notoriously late, then I don't know. Plus he seems like a little bit of a perfectionist, so he probably spends a lot of time, like doing those revisions like we were just talking about. So I'm going to shoot for September. I'm going to say September. I'm not going to give an actual date, but I'm going to say September.
Dang, Kanye, a perfectionist? I would have never guessed.
As if. So that's it. That's Boom Bap Bros number 6. We hope you all enjoyed the episode. I feel like these variety episodes just go by so quick when we're recording and talking about the stuff, because we just got so much new stuff to talk about and different artists and lots of different things and topics, where our album reviews are more getting really detailed about a specific story that we're trying to explain or relate back to the listener and get more detail behind the music. But these are always fun too. Let us know which episodes you like more in the comments. We'd love to hear it. And any feedback or thoughts you have on any of the stories we talked about, we'd love to hear. But I have been Pat G at PatG563. Why don't you guys go ahead and give your outros here? I've done enough talking.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm Alec. You can hit me up on my socials at Alec Galandi on Twitter, Instagram. But yeah, I'm on there talking about music and a lot of sports and whatnot. Getting ready for the NBA draft coming up pretty soon here. So I might be having some takes on that. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Roger. You can follow me on just about all my socials at RojDog_16, ROGDOG_16. Feel free to interact with us on our Facebook page at Boom Bap Bros Podcast. So, yeah, check it out, man. It's a vibe.
Thanks everybody for watching. We'll catch you next time.